And why would two kids, two teenagers, spend an hour and a half watching a movie that scares them and pay for it? Is that upside down or isn't it? Why not take that hour and a half and sit down with your notebook and your pen and write down what you want in life and write down the steps to getting it. Write down, do I have any enemies? Yeah, do that. Write down, do I have any enemies? And now, take that name. Supposing you wrote down the name, James Devine is my enemy. But here's what you do. You say, I pray for James Devine. I pray for him that he be happy and whole and healthy. All present blessings continue. It's very important when you pray to say, all present blessings continue. Did you want to know where I was? I was looking in the file from a little write-down book. It's very important when you pray for something that you say, all present blessings continue. Because very often you can lose a present blessing, an old blessing, for a new blessing. You don't want that, do you? I jotted down some things for you last night. I worked on this 2 hours. Another important thing is sleep, rest, being in condition, feeling the full power of God inside of you and making other people feel the full power of God inside of you. You are really a dynamo. You really are perfectly made. Unbelievably made. You're made something that causes wondering esteem, that causes marvel, gratification, delight. How beautifully you are made. Why should you waste a minute of it? Why should you waste any second of it? And then you write down any problems that you're having. Now you don't say to God, what do I do to solve this problem? You say to God, what do we do? We, one. We, partners. You and God are partners. You and God are one. Another thing you do is think until you get way down deep and find out what it is God created you for. Did you ever notice that every person is different? Did you ever notice that every job to be done in this universe is different? Did you notice that God has to have people specially qualified to do a special job? And when grief comes your way, or adversity comes your way, it's a call. Do not grieve over it. It's a call. There's a job out there to be done. And you should be honored that you have been called to do it. An example of that is Elena Sassower, superbly qualified. And detailed knowledge of the law, the statutes, the Constitution. Detailed. An expert in judicial procedure. She knows more than any judge, she knows more than any lawyer. She's a pro se. You know what pro se is. For yourself. Translated from the Latin, pro se is for yourself. You are there for yourself. You represent yourself. And that's the way it should be. There shouldn't be any lawyers. So it's really not adversity. It will turn out to be one of the greatest things that ever happened to you. Let's go back. Spend that time alone with God. Every day. And then when you have to do essentials and things that you maybe rather would not like to do, chores, duties, commitments, all the time you're doing those, count pure thoughts. Eschew negative thoughts. Second level thoughts. Second level thoughts. Remember, your first level, your top quality, your top shelf. Okay, pure thoughts. Eschew negative thoughts. Eschew second level thoughts. Eschew trivial thought. Eschew ugly thought. Do not think about anything ugly. So you know what to do if you have enemies? Okay, put them on your book. And pray for them. All of a sudden you don't have enemies. All of a sudden you don't have any bitterness in your heart. I know you want to see those people perfect, whole, and happy. I know you want them to be. Because when they're perfect, whole, and happy, look at what they do for you and do for the world. So you see, it's pretty nice. That's what it is to come in the front door instead of come in the back door. Didn't you write down what God tells you to do with this day that God has given you? You know a nice way to start the morning? A nice way to start the morning is to wake up and rejoice for the night. And rejoice for the rest. Now this is assuming you are rested. Not like Edgar, who says he does his hardest work every day before breakfast. And that's getting out of bed in the morning. No, not if you're like that. But if you had your rest and you wake up and you rejoice about the night, isn't it a nice thing to have night? And you rejoice about rest, and then you rejoice about the pleasant morning light. You rejoice for food, you rejoice for care, loving care, and you rejoice in the new day so fair. And that reminds me of something else. What is it? You're going to tell me that you rejoice every 15 minutes about something. What did we rejoice about at 7 o'clock? The remote. We rejoice about people having the mentality and the intelligence to make a high precision instrument like this camera. It's digital. And it's also analog. And Andrew Herzman will probably dispute that. But I think I have the proof here for him. It's digital 8. So what are we going to rejoice about at 7:15, which we missed by 4 minutes? We rejoice that you and I are thinking about the most important thing there is. And that's your happiness. And your happiness comes with oneness with God. Actually, that's the back door again. the front door, is your oneness with God. And you don't even have to consider happiness, because you will be the ultimate in happiness. What's my address? Box 124. Box 124. 102 dozen. Box 124. Ghent. 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 G-H-E-N-T. Ghent. One syllable. Ghent. 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 New York. 12075. What's my address? That's right. Box 100, 2 dozen, 24. What's the town? One syllable. Right. Ghent. G-H-E-N-T. What state is it? It's the state of too much government. New York. And the zip code is 120 3/4. 12075. And you know, this being a new year, you can also write in your book, what were the best things that happened in the year 2004? Just one other thing, I guess, and we'll move on. Maybe a chat with Glendora should be more of this, helping you be happy, than it should be reporting to you the utter depravity in the courts. Nobody is safe anymore to go to court. It isn't safe to go to court. It's run by hoodlums. So we have to pray for those hoodlums. We have to pray that they be happy, whole, and healthy, and that all present blessings continue. But one other thing I was going to say, it might be nice to write down, is your eating. Do you eat right? Do you eat right? Look at people's teeth. Do they have fangs? No. That's for tearing. They're flat teeth, like monkeys' teeth. Do monkeys eat meat? No. Monkeys are herbivores. People are meant to be herbivores. And that means you don't kill animals, you don't torture them, you don't terrorize them, you don't agonize them, you don't massacre them, you don't slaughter them. That's very important. Clean out the alimentary canal. And that doesn't mean diarrhea at one end and vomit at the other end. Clean out the alimentary canal. Eat apples. Eat oranges. Eat bananas. Eat greens. Eat seeds. And you can't go wrong today because they have so many good vegetarian dinners that you can buy frozen and that you can cook. Or you can make your own. You can make your own casseroles. I think that's important. Eating right is very important. You don't want to eat the murdered carcasses of animals, which is already in a state of putrefaction. from the moment the animal is slaughtered and tortured and agonized. From that moment on, it's in a state of putrefaction. It's putrefied food. And don't say, well, I need the protein. Well, when you eat an animal, you're getting second-hand protein. The second-hand protein. The real protein came from the grass or the seed that the animal ate. That's where the real protein came from. And of course now we have the soy technology. Textured vegetable protein. So there's no excuse for burdening on yourself the sin of cruelty to animals. Right down to, what is your mission in life? What have I been created to create? That's your time alone with God, every day. I don't know what number program this is, but maybe if you want to look it up on the internet and hear it again, I better try to think what number program this is. Let's see, we left off editing last Saturday with number 3976. And Richard Wolfe says there was a program that came in that didn't have a number. So that's 77. And George McDermott's coverage of Elena Sassauer's release from jail is number 78. Then there's 4 of them on this first 8mm tape, 79, 80, 81, 82. And there must be 2 on here, 83, 84. Okay, I guess, this is only a guess and an estimate, that this is program number 3984. 3984. If you want to sit down with this program and do these things. Now you can talk to me. You can write me a letter. And you can tell me these things. I wouldn't tell anybody anything you don't want people to know. Because anything bad in your life we're going to get rid of. Okay? We're going to wash it clean. Water is such a wonderful thing. Baptism, water, we're going to wash it clean. There is such a thing as catharsis. What I was telling you about cleaning out the alimentary canal, cleaning out the mind, and washing it clean. That's a great thing about Christianity, is you confess your sins. This is what I did wrong. I know I was wrong. You admit it. And then you say it was wrong. And you said, I'm sorry that I did it. That's repenting. And then you reform. You say, I won't do it again. That's a good thing. If things are that bad in your life, regrets. That's a good thing. Write down your regrets and get rid of those. Okay, what do we call this? We call this the happiness program. David Letterman called Glendora the happiness lady. You can also have a free copy of the Glendora Happy Book, which lists many of the things I've just told you, which is a rather primitive approach to this, whereas what we have now is a very sophisticated approach. So what would we call this? Glendora Happiness Lessons? Glendora Cheerful Look at Life? Glendora Happiness Lessons? Okay, the camera's tired. Maybe you are too. It's flashing red light. It's 7:30 a.m. What are we going to rejoice about? A new day. And we're going to learn how to make that a new God day. A new day that belongs entirely to us. One with God, a partner with God. Complete happiness. Amen. This is a ladybug I rescued. How do I know it's a ladybug? I have good vision. She's on a piece of apple. She was wandering all over my desk, hopelessly hungry and thirsty. And she found the piece of apple that I gave her. That's a joy. I don't mind them coming in the house all winter long, but I wish they would go to sleep. They're always walking around. You want to see how big it is? I'll give you a frame of reference. There's a finger. See the new Q-tips? These are for .com. New Q-tips with a green handle. Isn't that fancy? We're winning the battle, I hope, with ear mites. And what's here on the disc? The morning devotions. They are so good, folks. I pray for you to be filled with the Holy Spirit. Walk in the Spirit. For the flesh lusts against the Spirit. This is Galatians, Paul's letter to the Galatians. And these are contrary to one another, and you don't want that going on inside of you, people, so that you do not do the things that you wish. But if you are led by the Spirit, and hear the works of the Spirit. We have to pray for all those people. Yeah. Elena Sasshauer is out of jail and home. She served her country for 6 months against a brute judge named Brian Holman. And we are filing a judicial misconduct and a tenure complaint against Brian Holman, Superior Court, Washington, D.C. Copy to George McDermott, Washington, D.C. hero. Copy to Saxy Chambliss, Washington, D.C. punk, who wouldn't listen to what Elena had to say about a nominee, and who let the Washington police arrest Elena. And then they came up with a phony trial. To the chairman on Commission on Judicial misconduct and tenure, to the great heroine, White Plains Person of the Year, Elena Sasshauer, who fought for America and gave up 6 months of her life for us folks. We owe her a lot. to her mother, Doris Sassower, who, of course, went through Hades, having her daughter in jail for 6 months. But Elena proved the point. We have nothing to say as to what people are on our federal benches, and that's why every one of them is a fraud. Brian Holman, the monster himself, and his boss, Rufus King. This paper has taken 6 hours and has cost $4 to print and post. Against Brian Holman, Superior Court, D.C. And I hope adamantly you do not give him tenure. The man is insane. A sadist of his degree does not belong in a black robe on a bench, even in our lowest village small claims court. Nobody can exhibit the misconduct that he did in broad daylight, in front of live, real people, he did, and not be declared totally unfit and disabled. To wit, abandon, self-surrendered to vice, open and shameless, disregard for Americanism and decency, profligate, utter laxity of morals, no restraint, dissolute, reprobate, complete insensibility to reproof, Gestapo, KBG. Wicked, depraved, corrupt, vicious, vile, virulent, vitriolic, violent, and volatile. Complainant knows you do not come under Title 28 U.S. Code Section 352, the Judicial Reform Act of 2002. But Holman does. Conduct prejudicial to the effective and efficacious administration of the business of the court. The business of the courts is what? Justice. Justice. Holman flunked. From day one, Holman was ad hominem, to the prejudices, never to the intellect. Holman heinously eschewed the law, the Constitution, and the statutes. He made a fool of himself and of America. His hostile opposition, calamitous, antinomic, antagonistic, made him a better prosecutor than the U.S. Attorney. Congress was not even in session when Elena spoke. How can you disrupt Congress when Congress is not in session? Those punk D.C. police took it upon themselves to arrest Elena. She asked Puppet Chambliss 3 times, "Are you directing I be arrested?" He was mum. Sergeant Banyati was the impetus out of revenge for Sassower's expose of Banyati's misconduct. And this is all on Congress videotape. And we have shown it on TV dozens of times and on www.achatwithglendora.com all over the world, 24 hours a day. And your conduct as to how you process this complaint will also be on TV and on the internet. Glendora, the author of this complaint, sued Holman in the United States District Court. He doesn't even know how to handle his own lawsuit. He is in default. He never appeared. He never defended. Here, his business is lawsuits, and he's too disabled to handle his own. Elena fills Glendora with marveling wonder, esteem, gratification, and delight. She showed the whole country that we have no government of the people, by the people, nor for the people. We have no say as to who goes on the